we have to go to the third most vital element needed for life, and that is sodium.
Many Americans don't know that unseen salt drives up their blood pressure.
So this is the amount of sodium that an adult is actually supposed to consume, about 2,300 milligrams of sodium. For a toddler, it's about half that amount, about 1,000 milligrams. But most adults actually consume double the amount, or 4,000 milligrams.
Consuming just 1 extra teaspoon of salt per day increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, and death by 17%.
You know, one of the fascinating things about salt is we're not born liking salt. We develop a liking for it at about 6 months of age. And other recent research has shown that the processed food industry is hugely influential in shaping our liking for salt. Kids that are exposed more to processed foods, including the foods you've just talked about, are more apt to be licking the salt shaker by the time they're in preschool.
Barbara O'Neill discussed the dangers of table salt, highlighting that it contains harsh minerals that, if introduced directly into the bloodstream, could be lethal.
And there's your table salt. Table salt is a dangerous salt because we now have 2 very harsh minerals that if you were to inject both of those into the blood, you would die. There's 2 harsh minerals and they need all the other 90 to soften them and balance them.
Table salt, processed to be pure sodium chloride, lacks the balance of the natural 92 minerals found in seawater, which are necessary to mitigate its harshness.
You know, it's sort of shocking how many foods in the supermarket are so salty. Canned soup is just amazing, but the single largest contributor of salt to the diet is actually bread. Not because it's so salty, but because we eat so much of it. And it's an example of how salt is so essential to the industry. They're hooked on salt more than we are because salt acts as a preservative. It covers up off notes and bad flavors in highly processed foods.
In nature, sodium is found in seawater, which contains 92 minerals. About 30% of these minerals are sodium, and 50% are chloride. When seawater evaporates, sodium chloride, table salt, is the first crystal formed, and it is then processed and refined, often with additional chemicals.
And in this bilayered membrane that is around every cell, there are sodium-potassium pumps. And these sodium-potassium pumps are ever going like this, maintaining the balance between potassium and sodium.
Sodium and potassium are both crucial for cellular function. Sodium is predominantly found outside the cell, while potassium is found inside. The balance between these 2 elements is maintained by sodium-potassium pumps in the cell membranes. A diet low in fruits and vegetables, which are rich in potassium, and high in table salt disrupts this balance, causing sodium levels to rise and potassium levels to fall.
But when someone's not eating enough fruits and vegetables, and that's where you get most of your potassium, and they're putting table salt on everything far too much, what happens now is sodium levels rise and potassium levels drop.
This imbalance leads to higher sodium concentrations inside the cells, causing them to swell. This condition can contribute to high blood pressure.
But when this happens, you see osmosis and diffusion happens when the highest concentration merges into the lowest. So now sodium levels inside the cell are rising, which they should not, and the cell swells. What's that called? High blood pressure.
Dr. Lee Langui, a French physician, addresses high blood pressure by recommending Celtic salt, which is hand-harvested sea salt containing 82 minerals in their natural balance. Celtic salt includes 3 types of magnesium: magnesium chloride, magnesium bromide, and magnesium sulfate, which are known to attract and hold water. This moisture absorption can aid in cellular hydration. In contrast, Himalayan salt contains about 75 minerals and is also beneficial, but Celtic salt is preferred for its higher magnesium content.
One reason is that the Celtic salt has 3 magnesiums. It contains magnesium chloride and magnesium bromide and magnesium sulfate. Magnesium is a water-hungry molecule, and this explains why the Celtic salt is such a moist salt, especially when we've had a lot of rain.
when using Celtic salt to improve hydration, a small crystal, about the size of a sesame seed, can be placed on the tongue. This practice helps absorb essential minerals, including magnesium, which aids in drawing water into the cells. This method can be particularly effective if you're experiencing high blood pressure or excessive urination from drinking large amounts of water at once.
We've all heard the saying, you are what you eat, but the majority of our body is water.
For optimal hydration, it's recommended to drink water gradually throughout the day, ideally 8 glasses, and to consume a small amount of Celtic salt with each glass. This approach mimics natural hydration processes, avoiding the issues of overhydration and ensuring that water is properly absorbed by the cells. Furthermore, our gastrointestinal tract has villi lined with receptor sites that transport glucose into the bloodstream. These receptor sites require sodium to effectively carry glucose, highlighting the essential role of sodium in nutrient absorption. Proper balance and hydration are crucial for maintaining overall health and ensuring that our bodies function optimally.
Is to take the glucose through and into the blood. So on this villi, we've got blood capillaries that go all the way through.
Barbara O'Neill highlighted the essential role of sodium in transporting glucose across the brush border wall into the bloodstream.
Now in that receptor site is a carrier. And this carrier is designed to take the glucose through to the blood. But the carrier will not accept the glucose unless it comes with a molecule of sodium.
Despite common advice to avoid salt, she emphasized that table salt, due to its high sodium chloride content, can disrupt mineral balance and damage taste buds. In contrast, Celtic salt, rich in various minerals, not only enhances flavor, but supports better hydration and cellular function.
Have you seen people that eat table salt? They put it on everything and they put it on before they've even tasted it. Well, no wonder, their taste buds are dying. Whereas Celtic salt, with all of its minerals, it enhances the flavor of the food.
She noted that sodium is crucial for both glucose absorption and water intake into cells.
Now the red lentils we had this morning, a few people have said, "What's in this?" I've even served it at my house at breakfast and people have said, "Is there chicken in this?"
While table salt's adverse effects are well documented, Celtic salt provides a balanced mix of minerals, including magnesium, which aids in effective hydration and energy production. By placing a small crystal of Celtic salt on the tongue before drinking water, one can enhance hydration and potentially boost energy levels, especially when feeling tired or peckish.
And again, the potassium is found in all your fresh fruits and vegetables. Calcium cannot get into the cell by itself, it needs vitamin D. When vitamin D is present, the calcium is pulled inside the cell. And remember, I showed you the other day that calcium's called the king because when it gets into the cell...
O'Neill also pointed out the importance of potassium, found in fresh fruits and vegetables, and calcium, which requires vitamin D for cellular absorption. She explained how magnesium, when combined with water, helps draw water into cells, and the spinning of tiny motors in cells provides energy. For a quick energy boost, O'Neill suggested using Celtic salt with water and taking a moment to breathe deeply for a burst of oxygen, which increases energy levels significantly. She concluded by emphasizing that while glucose needs insulin to enter cells, insulin resistance can precede diabetes, underlining the importance of balanced nutrition and proper mineral intake for overall health. When insulin resistance develops, cells become less responsive to insulin, preventing glucose from entering the cells and causing it to accumulate in the bloodstream. In response, the brain signals the pancreas to produce more insulin, but this doesn't address the underlying issue of insulin resistance. This resistance is often driven by a high carbohydrate, high sugar diet, where cells become overwhelmed and refuse to process more glucose. To recover from insulin resistance, it's crucial to reduce carbohydrate intake, increase fiber, and consume good proteins and healthy fats.
Is to get the glucose, those carbohydrates right down, get the fiber up, the good proteins and the healthy fats. That's the best way to recover from insulin resistance.
In many cases, people in the U.S. face additional challenges: insufficient water intake, lack of mineral-rich whole salts, limited green vegetable consumption, inadequate sunlight exposure for vitamin D, and a reliance on low-fat diets. These factors contribute to deficiencies in hydration, minerals, and essential nutrients, impairing cellular function. The lack of fat in the diet may also lead to overeating carbohydrates and sugars, as fats help signal satiety. Consequently, the body struggles with hydration and nutrient absorption, potentially leading to high blood pressure as a last-ditch effort to force nutrients into cells. High blood pressure can result from dehydration, mineral deficiencies, lack of vitamin D, high carbohydrate and sugar intake, and inactivity. Addressing high blood pressure requires a comprehensive approach, considering various lifestyle factors. Understanding cell function is critical to recognizing how these factors impact the body. Dr. Batman's book, one of the body's many cries for water, highlights the profound effects of proper hydration on health. His research, initially conducted while he was a political prisoner, demonstrated that increasing water intake could alleviate numerous health issues. His findings, although not widely popular due to the lack of financial incentives, underscore the importance of addressing dehydration as a fundamental aspect of health. In a state of chronic dehydration, it's not uncommon for the body to produce excessive saliva. This might seem counterintuitive, as we often think of a dry mouth as a sign of dehydration. However, excessive saliva can indicate that the body is struggling to maintain balance due to inadequate water intake. To gauge how much water we need, we should consider the daily losses through various bodily functions. On average, we lose about 1.5 quarts, or 1.5 liters, of water through urine, 0.5 quarts through the skin, 0.3 quarts through the colon, and about 0.2 quarts through the lungs. This totals around 2.5 quarts of water lost daily, which equates to roughly 10 8-ounce glasses of water. Given this, it's essential to replace the lost water. For those engaging in activities like daily steam saunas, water loss through sweat can increase, requiring even greater intake to stay hydrated. Fruits, vegetables, herbal teas, and vegetable juices can contribute to daily water needs, but a baseline of at least 2 quarts a day is a good starting point.
And Dr. Batman Gehalde, he showed that the first place that we feel that water loss, if we're not replacing the water, the body goes into a form of drought management, and it releases a hormone to manage this drought management. It's called histamine. And if someone has an allergic response to something, what are they given? Antihistamines. You know, the best antihistamine is just water.
Dr. Batman's research reveals that when the body is dehydrated, it goes into drought management mode, releasing histamine to cope with the water deficit. This can result in various symptoms, including allergic responses. The mucosal lining of the stomach, which plays a critical role in neutralizing stomach acid and protecting against ulcers, can become compromised when water levels are insufficient. This was notably observed when Australian doctors linked Helicobacter pylori to stomach ulcers. A case in point involved a man who, despite undergoing multiple antibiotic treatments, continued to suffer from ulcers. After adopting a water-based and herbal remedy approach, his symptoms significantly improved, highlighting the body's ability to heal through proper hydration and nutritional support. Barbara O'Neill explained how dehydration can significantly impact the gut and overall health. When someone is not drinking water between meals, the lining of the gut becomes thin, allowing hydrochloric acid to damage the tissues. This creates an environment where bacteria like Helicobacter pylori can thrive, as they come in to clean up the dead tissue. O'Neill noted that Helicobacter pylori is often found in stomach ulcers because it plays a role in cleaning up this mess.
When we smell food and we start to chew food, hydrochloric acid, here's hydrochloric acid is released. And hydrochloric acid connects with pepsinogen to release pepsin, which breaks down protein, but hydrochloric acid does something else. It's antifungal, antibacterial.
Hydrochloric acid is essential for digestion and has antibacterial and antifungal properties. However, when diluted by drinking water immediately before or during meals, its effectiveness is reduced, allowing harmful bacteria to persist. By drinking water at the right times, such as half an hour before meals, the mucosa wall thickens and hydrochloric acid can effectively eliminate these bacteria. O'Neill highlighted how Dr. Batmangian discovered that drinking water at the right times could heal the gut lining and improve digestion. Dehydration also affects the pancreas, which releases hormones like insulin and glucagon to regulate blood sugar levels. Insufficient water can compromise hormone production and digestion, leading to potential issues like diabetes.
And that fluid is synovial fluid, and it is 99% water. In a state of dehydration, the body can take some water from there to maintain full blood volume in the major arteries and veins. And so if I have pain in there, maybe it's called arthritis, but actually maybe it's just a state of dehydration.
In addition to digestive health, water is crucial for various bodily functions. It helps maintain joint lubrication, supports brain function, and ensures proper fluid balance in the body. O'Neill referenced Dr. Batmangian's book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, to underscore that many symptoms of disease may actually be signs of dehydration. By drinking adequate water and understanding its role in bodily functions, one can significantly improve overall health and prevent many common ailments. Hydration plays a crucial role in maintaining overall health. In the lungs, tiny air sacs called alveoli contain droplets of water that help expel carbon dioxide when you breathe out. Dehydration can reduce the efficiency of this process, leading to less effective breathing and possibly constricted airways to prevent further water loss. Dehydration affects various body systems. It makes the blood thicker, which can strain the heart and kidneys. It also impairs digestion and enzyme functions in the pancreas. Chronic dehydration can contribute to lower back pain and headaches, as water is vital for spinal health and pain relief. One case study highlights these issues. A man with chronic headaches, chest congestion, and lower back pain saw significant improvement after increasing his water intake. This underscores how dehydration can impact health.
One of the signs that you're drinking adequate water is that your urine is clear. So when your urine is clear, that's a fairly good sign that you're drinking enough water.
Misconceptions about hydration often arise from the consumption of beverages like coffee and tea, which contain dehydrating agents. For every cup of coffee, it takes about 5 cups of water to offset the dehydration caused. Elderly individuals are particularly vulnerable to dehydration, which can worsen cognitive decline and physical health. Adequate hydration can improve mental clarity and overall well-being, as seen in a woman who experienced significant recovery after increasing her water intake.